As a supervisor, applying ethical principles and guidelines to real world situations is crucial. Here are a few case studies that illustrate practical applications and ethical considerations in supervision. For each scenario, first think about how you would address it if you were the supervisor. Then, we will talk through a couple of other solutions. In our first scenario, Sarah is a new BCBA supervisor who is taking on her first group of supervisees. She has scheduled an initial meeting to discuss roles, responsibilities, and expectations, but is unsure of how to approach the conversation. What should she do? Sarah could start by clearly defining her role as a supervisor and the overall purpose of the supervisory relationship. She could work collaboratively with her supervisees to establish mutually agreed upon expectations, such as frequency and format of meetings, communication protocols, and performance evaluation criteria. Sarah could encourage her supervisees to voice any concerns or questions they have and be open to modifying the expectations as needed. She could also document agreed upon expectations and provide a copy of each to each supervisee for reference. Our next scenario, Alex, one of Sarah's supervisees, is struggling to implement a new behavior analytic intervention with a client. During a supervision session, Alex expresses frustration and self doubt about his abilities. What should Sarah do? Sarah could start by acknowledging Alex's challenges and validating his feelings rather than immediately offering solutions. She could then adopt a mentorship approach, guiding Alex through the process of troubleshooting the implementation issues and providing specific, constructive feedback. Sarah could encourage Alex to take an active role in identifying areas for improvement and developing a plan for skill building and professional development. She could also emphasize Alex's strengths and successes and provide positive reinforcement to boost his confidence and self efficacy. In our next scenario, during a supervision session, one of Sarah's supervisees, Emily, expresses concerns about the feedback she has been receiving from another supervisor, Jessica. Emily feels that Jessica's feedback is overly critical and not constructive. What should Sarah do? Sarah could first encourage Emily to have an open and honest conversation with Jessica to address the concerns directly. If the issues persist, Sarah could schedule a meeting with both Emily and Jessica to facilitate a constructive dialogue. She could encourage open communication, active listening, and a focus on finding a mutually agreeable resolution. Sarah could emphasize the importance of maintaining a collaborative and professional working relationship and guide the discussion towards strategies for improving the supervisory dynamic. If necessary, Sarah may need to involve a neutral third party or refer to organizational policies to help resolve the conflict. Next, we're going to look at some ethical specific scenarios. Again, first, I want you to think about what you should do to address the concern, and then we will talk through a couple of possible scenarios. In our first ethical scenario, Sarah, a BCBA supervisor, is responsible for evaluating the performance of her supervisee, Alex. However, Sarah and Alex are close friends outside of work and often socialize together. This personal relationship creates a potential conflict of interest in Sarah's ability to provide objective feedback and performance reviews. What should Sarah do? To be in alignment with our ethical guidelines, Sarah should disclose the personal relationship to her organization and seek guidance on how to manage the situation. She should also implement strategies to maintain appropriate boundaries, such as avoiding socializing with Alex outside of work. She should consider having a neutral third party or another supervisor evaluate Alex's performance to ensure objectivity. Lastly, she should regularly reflect on the impact of the personal relationship and adjust the supervision arrangements as needed. In this next ethical scenario, during a supervision session, one of your supervisees, Emily, shares confidential information about a client's personal life that is not directly relevant to the client's treatment plan. You are concerned that this disclosure may violate the client's privacy. What should you do? As her supervisor, you should remind Emily of the importance of maintaining client confidentiality and only sharing information that is necessary for the client's treatment. You could also provide guidance on proper record keeping and documentation practices to protect client privacy. You could encourage Emily to seek your advice or the advice of a senior clinician before sharing sensitive client information. If necessary, you can also review the organization's policies and procedures regarding client confidentiality and privacy. In this next ethical scenario, one of your supervisees, John, has been struggling to effectively implement behavior analytic interventions with a particularly challenging client. During your supervision sessions, you have provided feedback and suggestions, but John continues to face difficulties. What should you do? To further support him as his supervisor, you could encourage more frequent and detailed observations of John's work with the client. You could also provide specific, constructive feedback that focuses on areas for improvement and professional development. You can collaborate with John to develop a comprehensive plan for skill building, including additional training, mentorship, or observation opportunities. And of course, be sure to monitor John's progress closely and adjust the supervision plan as needed to ensure the client's well being and his growth. In this training, we have explored the key elements of building effective supervisory relationships that foster positive and collaborative interactions between supervisors and supervisees. Cultivating these strong relationships is essential for ensuring the professional growth and development of your supervisees, as well as the overall success of your organization and arguably our field. Throughout this training, we have discussed several crucial strategies and best practices, including establishing clear expectations and communication by clearly defining roles, responsibilities, and the scope of the supervisory relationship while promoting open, transparent, and ongoing communication. We discussed developing a supportive and empowering supervisory style by adopting a mentorship approach that nurtures the professional development of supervisees while providing constructive feedback and encouragement to build confidence and competence. We discussed promoting a collaborative and inclusive environment by encouraging mutual respect, trust, and shared decision making while valuing the unique perspectives and contributions of each supervisee. We also discussed fostering professional development and continuous learning by identifying and addressing the individual learning needs of supervisees and providing access to trainings, resources, and growth opportunities. Lastly, we discussed navigating challenging situations and resolving conflicts by addressing performance issues or concerns in a constructive manner and implementing effective conflict resolution strategies to maintain a positive working relationship. Remember, building effective supervisory relationships is an ongoing process that requires a commitment to continuous improvement and a willingness to adapt to the unique needs and dynamics of your supervisees. Our skills as supervisors are continually being shaped by our experiences and enhanced through collaborations with others in the field. By implementing these strategies and best practices, you can cultivate a supportive and collaborative environment that empowers your supervisees, enhances their professional development, and ultimately leads to better outcomes for the individuals and families you serve. As you return to your respective roles, I encourage you to reflect on the key tools and takeaways from this training and consider how you can apply them to strengthen the supervisory relationships within your organization. By doing so, you will foster a culture of mutual respect, trust, and professional growth, ultimately contributing to the overall success and effectiveness of your team. Thank you so much for walking with me through this training. I am confident that the knowledge and skills that you have gained today will serve you well in your supervisory roles. And don't forget to take your toolbox with you. Thank you. Here is a list of some of the resources that were used to create this training.